So, today, Martha dropped by.
She dropped by your house?
No, silly. She dropped by the clinic where I work.
Oh, yes, that's right. You work at that new clinic on 4th Street. You're a receptionist there, right?
Head receptionist, thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Is it okay to tell other people things like that? I mean, isn't it a breach of privacy if you tell unrelated third parties who came to the clinic? Don't you think there could be some troubles related to that?
Not at all. Just paying a visit to the clinic isn't anything worth keeping a secret. Not that it matters anyway. I turned her away without treatment.
You did what?
You heard. She came along looking for treatment, but I told her we weren't able to help and send her on her way. I don't know what she was thinking. There's no way we could help the likes of her.
What are you talking about? Surely you're not allowed to turn people away from your clinic, especially when they need help.
Perhaps you will recall the other week Martha said, I don't have very much money. If that's the case, what would happen if we treated her and she then said she had no money to pay the bill?
I'm pretty sure Martha is not the type of person to do something like that. Surely when she said she didn't have much money, she was referring to not having an excess to spend on unnecessary luxuries. I highly doubt that she would go to your clinic and not intend to pay for a treatment.
Well, I am the head receptionist. At the end of the day, it's my decision who we accept for treatment.
You really believe that? I have a feeling that's not in your job description.
How would you know what's in my job description?
I can't believe I'm hearing this. I've heard rumors from some mutual friends that you were pretending to be all-powerful and have refused treatment in the past. I didn't want to believe it, but they were telling the truth?
What do you mean, pretending to be powerful? There was no pretending. I am all-powerful. What I say goes.
Really?
Yes, really. I'm the one who decides which patients get treatment, so that gives me all the power. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yes, there are many things. First of all, don't you see how people might think your beliefs are a little bit strange?
Explain how.
Easy. You're a receptionist, nothing more.
Head receptionist, remember?
Yes, but you're not a doctor or any way trained in the medical profession. How can you be the one to decide who needs or doesn't need treatment?
All the patients need to do is abide by my rules, especially the poor ones.
I've never heard anyone say that before. I'm pretty sure that's not really a thing.
I think some of our mutual friends might also need to have a good hard think about what they say behind my back. If they don't sharpen up their act, they might find themselves also barred from my clinic.
Again, why are you trying to be so tough? And what happens when one of our friends suddenly falls ill? Surely you're not qualified to make a decision that could seriously affect their health.
Don't worry about that. I've been in this game for long enough. I can tell when someone's actually sick and needs medical attention.
I think it would be better if you stop pretending to be what you aren't.
Oh dear, Kate. Are you now trying to get in my bad books too? If you don't watch yourself, you might find yourself also looking for a new place to get medical treatment.
What have I said wrong?
Now that I think about it, you don't look like someone who has a lot of money yourself. Perhaps next time when you come by the clinic, if I'm at the desk, I might have second thoughts about admitting you for treatment.
That is not something that you can do. It's not your job to make that decision. And what do you mean I don't look like I have a lot of money? Where do you get off talking like that?
I've been working the reception desk for long enough now. I have a sixth sense for things like that. Many times in the past, we have had patients try to skip out on their bill without paying. That causes more trouble than it's worth. So part of my job is to prevent that sort of thing happening.
Well, that's not the sort of thing I would do. Also, it's not as if your clinic is a small one-man operation. It's a fairly decent size. I'm sure that what you're doing is not acceptable. How can you make the decision to accept someone for treatment based solely on their looks?
Now look who's trying to be all-powerful. I didn't think poor people like you were allowed to speak up to people like me. You'd better watch what you say, or you might not like the result.
I really don't know what you're going on about, but I really hope you reconsider how you think. That's it! I've had it!
What's wrong now?
You know what's wrong. I hope you're ready to get what's coming to you.
Oh, are you still angry that I turned you away from reception? I told you, it's just a common cold. You have nothing to worry about. You're simply wasting our time and your own by coming here.
My son suddenly fell ill. Then I brought him in to get looked at. I was worried enough before I got here, but that feeling got even worse when I saw you on the desk. After our last conversation, I really didn't want to talk to you so soon. But then for you to refuse to accept us for treatment? You're not even human.
Yes, but don't you remember what I said the other day? People with no money are not welcome at our hospital. Poor people should just stay at home and get better by resting.
Poor people? What are you insinuating?
Look, don't worry about it. Like I said, I've been doing this for long enough, and I know when people actually need treatment. I can tell what's wrong with people just by looking at them. That's why patients should listen to what I say. If I say there's no need for them to be treated, they should just relax, trust my judgment, and go home.
What are you talking about? You're just a receptionist with no formal training. How can you claim to know anything about medicine and correct treatments? Recently, you've been refusing treatment to a lot of our friends. What's all that about? Are you just trying to make them all suck up to you? Make them all like you before you accept them into the clinic?
Not at all. All I'm saying is that I know when someone actually needs treatment. I definitely know a lot more than a housewife like you would know. I also know that if we accept patients who don't actually need treating, then it's just wasting the time of our doctors. Can't you see that?
It's not up to you to decide which patients are wasting time or not.
Perhaps it wouldn't be a waste of time if you were to pay a little something up front.
What?
You know, just a little something to show that you're serious about getting treated. If you aren't prepared to offer a little, then perhaps you aren't serious about getting looked at. I'd be happy to accept cash. It would definitely speed up the administration process. If you decide that you won't pay, then I'm afraid we're not going to be able to treat you or your family here anymore.
What's that, a threat? Extortion?
I wouldn't go as far as to say extortion. I prefer to call it reality. The reality being, if you refuse to pay, then I will refuse to process you for treatment.
But that is not for you to decide.
I'm here at the reception desk. It's my job to process the patients. When I was put here on the desk, I was given certain responsibilities. One of those responsibilities is to decide who gets to see the doctors.
That is not part of the job description for a receptionist at a hospital.
At the end of the day, if you want to get treated, then you simply have to pay me up front. But you can't pay, can you? Can't, won't, it doesn't matter. Poor people like yourself who cannot pay should just go home and sleep it off.
I think I've had just about enough of this conversation.
Yes, that sounds about right coming from you. You shouldn't worry yourself about coming to our clinic ever again. Especially if you only have a slight fever of 106 degrees. Even if you bring your son in again, I will simply turn you away.
I think I might call my father first. The chief medical officer at that hospital.
Come again? What did you say?
Don't worry about it. I don't have time to explain it to you. It would appear that you were unaware that my father is the head of your hospital. But rest assured, I'm going to inform him of everything you have just told me.
What exactly are you going to tell him? Hang on, you can't be serious.
As you wouldn't let me through the front, I went through the service doors at the back. Naturally, the staff at the doors knew exactly who I was and let me on through. I'm lucky they let me in. My son was in quite a serious condition.
What? You're inside the hospital? You got inside without being admitted through reception? Are you telling the truth about your father? Is he really, like, the chief officer here?
Yes, he is. I don't know how you didn't know that. I was compelled to tell him how the receptionist was abusing her power and refusing to admit certain patients based on her opinion of them. I tell you what, my father was not impressed, to say the least.
No way! No way! Surely that cannot be true. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? You never mentioned it before. You're joking, right? You're pulling my leg? You're just trying to get even for me not allowing your son to get treated?
I'm not joking. You're the one who decided I was poor and refused to admit us. You're the only joke around here. Even after I told you my son had a high fever, you refused to believe me. Because of your actions, his treatment was delayed. If it took too much longer for a doctor to see him, there could have been some serious complications.
Surely not. After all, it was just 106 degrees.
Just 106 degrees? Have you ever had a fever that high? Do you think you would be able to perform normally if your temperature was that high? Most adults have trouble functioning at that temperature, and my son is only 3. How dare you turn away a defenseless child, regardless of how high or low their temperature may be?
Yes, well, I thought a fever like that was nothing to worry about.
That is not your call to make. That's why there are doctors in this hospital. Your job is nothing more than receptionist. All you have to do is process the patients as they arrive for treatment. What are you trying to do? Who are you trying to appeal to? Are you just trying to look powerful and important to our friends? You're not even a full-time employee. You're a part-time worker. You're very low on the ladder of command.
Hang on, there's no need to start talking like that.
You're not in a position to tell me how to talk. Anyway, I have told my father all about your antics in the past.
All of my antics? Exactly what did you tell him?
I simply told him about all the cases that I know of where you refuse to accept patients for treatment. He's now well aware of how you've been acting.
You actually told him about it? Surely you realize a lot of it was exaggeration. There was no need for you to tell him anything. It's not like I did it all the time. He's going to take it out of context and think I'm some sort of devil.
You and I both know there was no exaggeration. I simply told him exactly what I've heard from everyone, and they all have the same stories. It sounds like you've been overstepping your mark for quite some time.
I wasn't overstepping anything. Most of it was just friendly joking. I didn't mean anything by it. How can I be at fault if people took it the wrong way? Anyway, I never knew you were the chief's daughter.
Don't turn this around on me. You're the one who's been acting out of line by refusing to accept patients, even sick little children. That's absolutely despicable. I don't think you'll need to worry about having to turn people away anymore anyway.
What do you mean?
You can't really turn people away if you're not working there anymore. That's what I mean.
What? Are you saying I'm going to lose my job?
It's not up to me to give you the news like that. You'll have to hear it from your boss. You know, my father. That's really all I have to say on this matter.
I can't get fired. I like this job. I need this job.
It's not the job you like. You just like feeling superior to people. That's why you enjoy the power trip you get from turning them away. If you enjoy the feeling you get from putting people down, you don't have to sit at reception to do that. You could just go down to the park and hurl abuse at people as they walk past.
No, that's not it at all. I just thought it would be a bit of a laugh, just to see how people would react.
And would you still find it funny if my son fell violently ill because of your little joke? I can't believe you would sit there and brush it off so easily. What was it that you said? Poor people should just stay home and sleep it off? That's a terrible thing for anyone to say, let alone staff at a hospital.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. Look, I apologize. I'll come and apologize in person. Can you please forgive me?
No, I cannot. By the way, didn't you also try to extort money from me? Remember you said if I wanted to get treatment, I needed to prove I wasn't poor? And the money was to be paid directly to you? I'm still trying to understand what that was all about. Why must I pay you money just so that I can get accepted for treatment?
Well, it wasn't really a payment. It was more of a sign of good faith, you know, to show you had enough money to pay for treatment.
But that doesn't change the fact that you demanded I pay you.
No, that wasn't my real intention. I just wanted to make sure you were able to pay. I never expected you to actually pay. I just wanted to see that you could.
Whatever, that doesn't matter now. I've spoken to my lawyer and they agree that it's extortion. It's now a matter for the courts.
Extortion?
Yes, if you don't know what that means, I suggest you Google it. It's a serious offense and is punishable by hefty fines and even imprisonment. You should realize my father has a team of lawyers, and they're looking into how serious your case may be.
He's called his lawyers? Is he going to sue me? Is that what you're saying?
That's not for me to comment on, but it's pretty obvious that your actions have caused a fair amount of problems to the general public. That has severely damaged the reputation of the hospital. So it's up to the team to make sure they restore some of the public's trust in them. You're going to have to take some responsibility for your actions.
Responsibility? For what? I've already apologized. What more do you want? It wasn't such a big deal after all. It was just a bit of fun.
What on earth are you talking about now? Martha said that because you refused to let her in for treatment, she had to go across town to the nearest practice. She had a strained lower back. Have you no idea how painful that can be? And she's not the only one you caused problems for.
I didn't know that. How was I supposed to know?
You think you can get off by claiming ignorance?
I'm begging you, don't blow this all out of proportion. I've learned my lesson, and I won't do it ever again. Please, just let me go on with my work.
Unfortunately, it's not my decision. I haven't heard for sure, but I'm pretty confident you're not going to be in that chair for much longer.
No, I can't get fired. I need this job. It means everything to me. You have to talk to your father for me. You and I are friends, right?
Friends? I'd hardly call a receptionist who works for my father, who refuses to accept patients based on their looks, a friend. I want nothing to do with you. Any thread of friendship has been destroyed by your selfish actions. You're a stranger to me. I could even go one step further and say you're my enemy.
Enemy?
I recommend you take a good, long, hard look at yourself. I'm pretty sure that you won't listen to anyone else, so you need to realize for yourself what your own problems are. Anyway, the doctors have finished with my son now. It seems they've been able to bring his fever down a little bit, so unfortunately I have to leave you. Don't contact me ever again. I don't expect we will ever bump into each other either. Apparently, shortly after that, Susan was called into the HR offices. They had heard the rumors about her actions at the front desk and wanted to hear her side of things. She was unable to convince them that they were mistaken. On top of that, my father also paid a visit, and they could tell he was very upset with her. In the interest of the hospital's image, it was decided that she should lose her job. After all, what sort of hospital needs a receptionist who tries to do the job of a doctor? Especially when her idea of treating patients is to not actually treat them. By the time she lost her job, she had already caused a lot of damage to the hospital's good image. It was decided that she should be made to pay a severe fine for her actions. Of course, her husband was not very impressed either when he heard the news. Apparently, they'd been having relationship troubles for quite some time, and this was the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. He filed for divorce shortly after, I heard. Sarah had lost her job, her family, and pretty much all her friends. Unable to hold her head high in this small town anymore, she decided to move away as soon as she could. So, after losing her friends, family, job, and then having to move, apparently it left her rather depressed. Not that anyone felt sorry for her. After all, she brought it all upon herself. As for my son, thanks to the quick work of the medical staff, he was able to avoid further complications from his high fever and made a full recovery. That was definitely a relief for me. After all the commotion surrounding Sarah calmed down, people were able to get on with their lives in peace. No one was sad to see her leave. Who needs such an odd person working at the reception desk of a hospital anyway?
Are you going to be joining us this evening for dinner? I can never tell if you're planning on attending or not. You're being quite disrespectful of us and our time. I expect you to be there. Do you really want me to come? It doesn't feel like you want me to be there. I feel like you always end up complaining to everyone if I show up. If it weren't for Daniel and Patty, I wouldn't be going at all. I'm not really that interested in hearing you insult me. Insult you? I'm not insulting you. I'm just pointing out what needs to be pointed out. This is an event I expect you to be at. I would hope for Patty's sake you have some sense of obligation towards her family. Not that you've proven yourself to be much of a mother. Really? Already? There's no need for you to speak to me like that. I know you look down at me because I grew up in a foster home. But I've been married to your son for over 4 years. I would hope we would have moved past this at this point. I never approved of you marrying Daniel. Do we really need to do this all over again? I'm starting to get sick of having the same exact conversation over and over. Patty's old enough to understand what you're saying now. Can we at least stop this for her sake? Stop what? You're constantly insulting me. Every time we have a family get-together, I really try to have a good time. But you just can't leave me alone. Why does it matter that I was a foster kid? I thought at first this might just be me not understanding you. Daniel would always dismiss it as a joke or as you just being particular. But I'm pretty convinced now that you just won't get over it. We're family now, and there's no changing that. We should probably learn to live with that. You misunderstand me, dear. I feel sorry for you, really. I know you've always had a strong desire for a real family of your own. It's kind of sad, actually. Pitiful, even. So you wormed your way into mine to take advantage of us. It's nothing like that. No, I understand what you're saying. No need to act so coy. I understand you. You're alone. You need someone to keep you off the street. But I never said I wanted a discourteous gold digger like you marrying my son. Daniel has never been any more than a meal ticket for a boorish layabout like you. Here we go again. I am no gold digger. I can support myself. In fact, I make just as much as Daniel and work just as much as he does. Whatever you say, dear. Anyway, I'm sure Daniel will want you there regardless of how I feel. And James is bringing his fiancée to meet everyone. Oh, he is. I didn't know he got engaged. It just happened last weekend. I know I can't stop you from coming. But just don't embarrass us in front of James's new fiancée. How would I embarrass you? I'm always on my best behavior. If anything, I'm never more polite. Maybe you should try harder. I know you weren't raised in a high-class environment, but we have high standards when it comes to manners in this family. I'm sorry if I've ever offended your sensibilities. Good! I'm glad to hear you apologizing for once. It's rare for people of your stature to even offer the slightest of pleasantries. Maybe you are getting a bit better. Thanks, I guess. Though it feels like a bit of a backhanded compliment. I definitely don't mean it as a compliment. More of a reminder. A reminder of what? Your place in our family. I'm not sure how much more of this I can stand. I might not be well-bred or have the best manners, but I have my pride. I've put up with this for Daniel's sake, but it's getting to the point that I'm not sure how much longer I can hold out. You are such a bothersome little girl. I keep telling Daniel that he should just divorce you already and let you crawl back in your little hovel. I tell you to go back home and live with your parents, but, well. Are you done? I'll be at dinner whether you want me to or not. I'll help out with whatever you want me to. I'll gladly meet James's fiancée, but we'll leave as soon as we can. I'd much rather not have this devolve into a fight in front of Patty. She's still your granddaughter at the end of the day, and she deserves to have a chance to get to know you. Seems a little rude for you to leave whenever you want. I go through the trouble of hosting this little party, and you don't have enough respect to stay to the end. We won't stay any longer than we have to. Anyway, see you next week. Hey, Kelly. Did you really not remember me? After all those years growing up together? I was so happy to see you again, but you acted like we never met. I'm really sorry, Laura. I didn't mean to treat you like a stranger. I was really happy to see you too, honest. It just wasn't the time or place for it. I didn't want you to get wrapped up in all the drama. What drama? Between you and Emma? Yeah, it's complicated. I'd love to tell you about it, but I think you're better off not knowing. You should at least have a chance to have a good relationship with your in-laws. Unlike me. If she thinks we're friends, it's probably going to destroy any positive notions she might have about you. Wait, so when we see each other in front of her, you want to act like we don't know each other? I'm not sure if I can really do that. It feels like lying. I mean, we've known each other almost our entire lives. Yeah, I don't love it either. It was a pleasant surprise to find out that you're marrying James, but it's just been ruined by Emma's attitude. I'd love to meet up again. You know, when she's not around. For sure! Man, it was so crazy that we ended up marrying brothers. I know you said you don't want to talk about it, but I was wondering about something that happened at dinner tonight. Why did she never offer you any cake? Are you allergic or something? No, it's nothing like that. She's just that kind of person. She's told me in the past I should eat less because I'll be too fat soon. Something about how poor, mannerless girls like me will eat like pigs if given the chance. Don't worry about it. I'm used to it at this point. She seems to like you already. I'm sure you can stay on her good side. But I am worried. She's being really terrible to you. I was surprised at how rude she was to you. Really, it's fine. No, it isn't. If anyone shouldn't be eating cake, it's me. I'm the one getting married soon. She handed me a slice the size of my head and didn't even offer you a plate. Well, it was a party for you, and I really didn't want it anyway. I'm trying to lose a few pounds for the wedding. Cake or no cake, it's still really rude of her not to at least offer. She's so nice to me. Why is she treating you like this? I really don't get it. Well, there is a reason, but please don't let this ruin your relationship with her. I'd hate to be the reason for any problems. Don't worry about that. If she's acting like this, it'll all come out eventually anyway. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Come on, Kelly. This isn't like you. You always were one to speak your mind. Remember that one professor in that class we had? The really creepy guy? Everyone was scared to say something about how he treated the girls, but you stood up in class and told him off right then and there. What happened to that, Kelly? Yeah, you're right. I really should say something. Thanks, Laura. What are you doing? You horrid urchin! You have absolutely no manners! I can't believe you sat there like that. I'm sorry, what is this about? Shouldn't you have cleared the dishes? When everyone is finished, you should help clear the table and bring out the next course. How have you been married for 4 years and still no sense of proper etiquette? It's your duty as a wife to clean up after the family. You didn't even offer to help. I don't know how Daniel can even let you go out in public. You're such an embarrassment. You're nothing like Laura. She's a gem, perfect manners, knows everything to say. She's even an attorney. I know that she'll make a perfect wife. Unlike you. I'm sorry for not knowing the proper etiquette. I'll try to remember next time. You better! But I'd like to ask that you try to be a little kinder to me. You're making these dinners awkward with you constantly correcting me and bossing me around. I'm not the one making things awkward. If you knew how to act, I wouldn't have to correct you. And anyway, even if you did know what to do, it's not like you'd ever find a place in our family. You stink of the streets! What do you mean? Everyone knows you don't belong here. Ugh. Anyway, today we're having dinner for family only. Come if you want. I can't guarantee we'll have a place set for you, though. All right, I won't come then. You won't! So you finally admit that you don't belong here. If you're not going to let me be part of your family, I have no reason to go. You're clearly not interested in treating me like family. It's not worth my time. I'll just stay home. Please give my apologies to everyone. What about Daniel? You're not going to come support your husband. I knew that you'd crumble eventually and shirk your duties as his wife. Street urchins like you have no sense of loyalty. Make up your mind. Do you want me to attend or not? As for this time, I'm not going regardless. Kelly, where are you? Are you not coming to dinner? Huh? Why would I? I thought we concluded that I wasn't going. Because you've been invited. It's rude to refuse, especially with no regrets. What's more, your family. It's embarrassing to have my son show up without his wife week after week. Get here right away. I have no plans of ever going back to your house. What are you talking about? You said last week that you'd be happy if we never saw each other again, and I told you I wasn't coming to dinner. I thought we made that clear. What are you even saying? You absolutely must be here. You're Daniel's wife, are you not? I am. Then why aren't you here? And where's Daniel? He hasn't shown up or called. He won't be coming either. What? What did you say to him? Only what you've been saying to me. I told him all about our conversations and how you've been, about how you wanted us to get divorced and abandon me. You told him what? No wonder he was so cold with me last week. What do you think you're doing, trying to turn my son against me like that? You both better get over here right now. What do you want from me? What? You told me I should stay home, so I did. But now that I'm not there, you want me back. You seemed pretty happy to get rid of me. So why should I come hurrying back? I changed my mind. You did? About what? Why should I tell you? Just get over here now. I already told you I'm not coming over. I'm not sure how many times I have to repeat myself, but the answer will always be the same. By the way, I just thought you might like to know. Laura and I actually knew each other before she and James met. We grew up together in the same town and even lived together for a while in the same foster home. You! What? What are you saying? I'm not sure how I can be any clearer. Laura and I were both orphans. She managed to make it out and put herself through law school. I may not be quite as successful as her, but we both came from the same place. I'm not sure she appreciates you being so rude to me about being a foster kid. I imagine she finds it to be a little rude. I just cannot believe it. How can such a pretty girl like her come from nothing? Was this your whole plan? Trying to embarrass me like this? Why didn't you say something? I've kept quiet about it for her sake. She's not one to talk about it much, and I didn't want to spoil your relationship. And she didn't want to either. Must have been why she didn't mention it. One thing about Laura is that she has the patience of a saint. I, however, do not. I'm done with you looking down on me for being a foster kid. When have I ever? When haven't you? Anyway, it ends now. I won't be showing up to any more of your family dinners. My presence just seems to ruin it anyway. If anyone asks why I'm not there, feel free to blame me. Don't be surprised if Daniel doesn't show up either. What are you talking about? What did you say to him? You are trying to turn him against me. I haven't done anything but tell the truth. You're the one who said and did all the things that drove him away. All I did is put up with your abuse for 4 years. I sat by quietly and let you walk all over me for the sake of him and Patty. But he's noticed it now too and isn't interested in letting it continue. I imagine Laura feels much the same. Maybe if you tried a bit harder to be a kinder person, this wouldn't have ended up like this. What are you up to? Are you trying to break up my entire family? You're jealous of what we have. More of this. You really are a broken record. Laura is her own person. She came to her own conclusions without my help. If you really want to, ask her herself. But she's too kind of a person to stand up to you. Stop this! You have no right to interfere in family matters. Maybe not, but I can do what's best for my family. You putting me down in front of my daughter is not going to happen anymore. I put up with this for her sake, but I'm not going to expose her to this. I have no plans to see you again. How dare you! You will not keep me from my granddaughter. I'll do as I see fit. I'm surprised that you even care. After all, she's being raised by a grubby little orphan. She's tainted by my poor little fingers. She's still my granddaughter. I deserve to be a part of her life. Well, then I suppose it depends on what Daniel thinks. What does that mean? If he wants you to be a part of her life, it's up to him. I don't want to deprive her of anything, and I want my husband to be happy. But he doesn't seem too interested in seeing you either. What do you think you're doing? I'll make him divorce you, just you watch! I sincerely doubt that. Even if he wanted to divorce me, it wouldn't be because of you. He's done listening to you as far as I can tell. You witch! I'm not the one burning bridges here. I do apologize if I've been harsh, but I think I've been fair. I tell you to talk to Laura, but as far as I know, she's not really interested in speaking with you either. I can only really speculate on what they're planning, though. I can't believe you! Laura just said she doesn't feel comfortable in a house hostile to foster kids. You're tearing my family apart, Kelly. Be reasonable. Get over here and tell her that we don't have a problem with foster kids. You want me to lie to one of my oldest friends. No, I want you to fix this mess that you've made. And tell Daniel I want to see him again. He's not responding to my messages and his phone is going to voicemail. Don't leave me out to dry like this. I already told you, Daniel and I have no interest in seeing you again. You can try him all you want. Maybe he'll get back to you eventually. But I don't think I can deal with you any longer. You've driven me crazy enough as it is. Kelly, be reasonable. I'll be nicer to you, I promise. Please don't take my sons away from me. I think it's too late for that. I don't have any ability to change their minds. Maybe you'll have more success, but I doubt it. I do feel a little bit sad for you. After all, I know what it's like to lose your entire family overnight. In the end, Emma ended up having a very awkward dinner party with only Laura and James. Laura left as soon as she could and James followed right after her. He apologized profusely for his mother's attitude toward me and toward all foster children and begged her not to break up with him. After a long conversation, Laura decided not to leave him, on the condition that she didn't have to see Emma again. James reluctantly agreed and cut his mother off. And just like that, Emma was cut off from her entire family. Her husband had no idea what was going on until Daniel and James sat him down and explained the situation. After he found out, he was furious. Word is, the word divorce has been spoken in the house more than a few times. At any rate, I'm very happy to have Laura back in my life and Emma out of it. We've built our own new extended family, and Daniel and I have vowed to raise our daughter to be accepting of everyone, regardless of their background. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.
Hey, Cassie, have you finally returned from your mother's funeral yet? I'm sorry to hear about her passing away from that terrible illness. She had been sick for a pretty long time, though, huh?
That's right. About a half a year ago, her sickness became much worse, and she had to be hospitalized because she wasn't able to stay at home any longer with the state she was in. But thank you for thinking about my family and checking up on me during these tough times.
Hey, I'd do anything for you and your family. And these sort of situations have never really bothered me, so I don't mind being there for you.
Is that so? Thank you.
Are you actually feeling any better, though, after returning to your own home? Staying over there a little longer might have been a better choice for you both, huh? There's all sorts of chores that probably need to be done at your parents' place still, right?
My mom was actually living with my brother and his wife before she was admitted to the hospital, so I think he will take care of cleaning everything up for me. After returning from the hospital, he said he could take care of the cleanup, so he didn't mind me returning to my house anyways. If I had stayed longer, I would have most likely been more of a nuisance than anything to him and his wife.
Really? He must be such a sweet older brother. But of course, all of the family's responsibilities land on the shoulders of the oldest brother at some point.
I guess that's right.
Anyways, you probably got some sort of an inheritance from your mom, right? Let's say your mom's amazing ruby ring or something like that.
Huh? How do you know about her ring? That wasn't something I thought you knew about.
So you did get that ring from her then after all. I heard about it from your husband. He told me you came back from your parents' house with your mom's beautiful ruby ring. I thought that it must be the ruby ring she wore all the time, and it for sure was.
But why do you know so much about that ring in the first place? I never spoke about it to you before, did I?
You didn't, but your mom was wearing it when we met each other at your wedding, as I recall. I love jewelry. Of course I would notice a beautiful ring like that. How would I not? I thought it was such a gorgeous ring, so naturally I would never forget that it existed. It had to have been rather expensive for her, right?
It's a family heirloom passed down from my grandma. I have no idea how much it costs. My brother's wife was originally supposed to receive her ring, but she insisted that I hold on to it instead, since she was my mom. So I was very lucky that she let me keep it. I'm nothing but thankful for that.
I see. But for someone as young as you are, it wouldn't really match your style if you were to wear it. What if you gave it to me to hold on to and wear?
Wait, are you really asking me to let you have it? Sorry, but there's no way I could ever do that. This is way too important to me and my family.
I know that's an important ring, but if you never plan to wear it, what is the point of keeping it? You're far too young for jewelry like that to complement your fashion sense anyway. So please, why not just give it to me? I will take great care of the ring while wearing it, to its fullest potential.
No way! This was meant for me to hold on to. This ring came all the way from when my grandma was a little girl. So I have no intent of giving it to someone outside our family.
Am I not like a mom to you, even though I'm your mother-in-law? I think it's perfectly fine letting your mother-in-law hold on to such a priceless ring for you.
Absolutely not. Handing it over to you or anyone else really is just not going to happen.
Come on, are you being serious? Oh, you really are a cruel daughter-in-law then, huh? This kind of cold behavior is making me think twice about having been nice to you all this time.
I'm only being cold because you are a little too interested in having my mom's ring. Also, you've already been trying for a while to take my makeup and clothing, and now you want to keep my mom's ring?
Is that such a horrible thing, giving it to me? You can always just buy something that suits your style more than that thing.
But I don't want to exchange this ring for anything at all, so stop asking me to give it up.
I just don't think it will look good on you, but whatever. If you were to give it to someone who can wear it with much more style, I'm sure even your mom up in heaven will be happy.
Even if she were to be happier about you wearing her ring, I'd still decline your offer. I want to be the one to hold on to her ring, as I'm the one who is her daughter.
You are one stubborn girl, aren't you? How can you turn me down? This is ridiculous. You're just being stingy. I wish I had a sweeter daughter-in-law.
You don't want a nicer daughter-in-law, though. You want someone who's willing to give up something dear to them so that their greedy mother-in-law can be happy, right?
Wow, that was pretty blunt of you. Do you not understand that I want to be respectful of you and your mother? Well, there is no use in talking with someone as selfish and dramatic as you. I'll let my son know about all of this.
Hey, what the hell is wrong with you? I can't believe you would talk to my mom like that. Even if she isn't your biological mother, she is still your mom, right? You should treat her better than that.
When was I ever being rude to your mom? What did your mom say to you?
She told me that you were being extremely rude when you said you wouldn't let her have your mom's ring. It's just a ring, right? Not letting your mother-in-law keep it is such a petty thing to do.
What the heck? It's not just any old ring, you know. I already told you when I first returned home, it's an heirloom that I got from my mom who got it from Grandma when she passed away. For generations, my family has carefully held onto it, so I'm not just going to give it to her just because she asked. Why am I the one being blamed for being rude and petty when it was your mom asking such a ridiculous question?
The thing is, it's just a ring though. You can at least let her have fun wearing it around for a little while. She was really upset by the way you spoke to her.
Can you seriously not see just how important this ring is to me? My mom only just passed away, and this heirloom is a small piece of my mom that I can keep with me to cherish. There's no reason I should give something that is so valuable to me away.
But your mother-in-law is still alive, so you should be treating her better, don't you think? My mom is the only mom you have right now, right?
That is such a harsh thing to say about my situation. Your mom is acting as though my rejecting her request to give her my mom's ring, which is very special to me, is some sort of verbal abuse toward her. I can't regard her as someone important to me if she's going to act like such a lunatic.
What the hell did you just call her? That's your mother-in-law and my mom. You can't ever speak about her like that. Why don't you just forget about your own mom already?
Forget about her? Why would I ever do that? So you're thinking that I should just forget her because she's no longer around?
You say you won't forget about her, yet when she was sick and unable to do very much, you did nothing to even help her. And now that she's gone, you want to act as though you cared so much more about her?
After marrying you, I moved out of my parents' house so there was no way I could be around her all the time. And when I asked if I could leave our house for a bit to care for her, you and your mom both started to complain. So even though I wanted to go stay with her, you guys wouldn't let me.
You're always saying that sort of crap. You said you honestly thought that she would be a bother to you, so you were content with leaving her at your brother's place to be taken care of. Don't just sit there blaming my mom and me for your ignorant actions.
What the hell? Did you forget what I just said to you a second ago? When I said that I wanted to care for her while she was sick, you said that you were against me leaving. You said that even if I stayed over at her house with her, there was nothing I could do for her, so you just asked for me to stay at our place.
That's because you only ever thought about being with your mom. And you were even reluctant to having my mom over to our house when I asked.
I was reluctant because anytime she came over to our place, she would always end up taking random things from us. There were times when she was secretly taking large amounts of my makeup and clothes. But who was it that wanted a thief in our house again?
Whatever, just please respect my mom, even if you have to fake it. If you do that, her attitude towards you might just soften up a little bit.
You want me to do that, considering you weren't ever respectful toward my parents and their needs? Why should I be so nice to your mom anyway? Stop saying such stupid nonsense.
What? You are really full of it, huh? Now you're just starting to piss me off. Well, it looks like from now on, I'm not giving you any more money from my paychecks.
Huh? What do you mean? What about our living expenses?
Do you not get what I said? You should be able to pay for everything with your salary. I won't bother putting a single penny into our joint account from now on.
Stop messing around! Why the hell do I have to be the one to pay for both our living expenses? If you're going to say that you won't give me any money, at least pay for your half of the expenses.
No thanks. I think having to experience a little bit of your own medicine will be good for you, because you are being a selfish brat right now.
I am not a brat, and I have to be selfish in order to defend myself from all of your idiotic and meaningless comments.
Oh, please shut up. I am not the one who's constantly back-talking here.
That's because you won't listen to anything I'm saying. When are you going to stop being so arrogant?
Your position as a wife is the lowest position in a family, especially this one. So how about you start to become more aware of that, you cow?
Ah, is that right? I totally get what you're saying now.
You finally understand? Well, I guess this is what happens when I raise my voice at you, huh? Finally, for a change, you fully understand that I'm right.
Hey, Cassie, did you freak out at my son? He finally let you know that you were really being an awful person after all.
That's right. I had to listen to all of that garbage he spewed. I couldn't believe he would say those things.
That's great. You already understand, though, right? You were in the wrong for all that audacious stuff you said to me, right? If you had just been a bit more honest and upfront from the beginning, then everything would have been fine between us.
I know. And I'm sorry. I was in the wrong and I do regret it.
Oh, you are being awfully upfront now, huh? It looks like what he said to you really made you think twice.
But even after all of this, I'm still not handing the ring over to you. I'm sorry, Denise.
Excuse me? So you're still not giving up that ring after all that?
Yep. I was thinking about what I should do, but my mom's ring is still a priceless thing to me. Please, try to understand.
I can't believe you're being so stubborn. You're the one that needs to understand. It's just a freaking ring. Now, I am definitely not going to forgive you for your attitude. If I tell my son that you are still playing with me, he is going to punish you. There should never be a time where I have to sit here and be harassed by my own daughter-in-law.
I am not picking on you. It's just, my mom's ring is the one thing I have to remember her with. It's so important to me that I would lock it in a drawer and throw the key away.
You're saying that you're going to hide it away? You'd really go as far as to go through the trouble of keeping it out of everyone's sight?
If a burglar or someone like that came into my house, I wouldn't want it stolen, right?
You are being overly dramatic about that dang ring. In this small and quiet town, you really think someone would have the audacity to break into your house and steal a ruby ring?
It's just a concern I have had ever since I started holding on to it. Anyways, I hid the key inside the wallpaper on the opposite side from our bed. After pulling back the wallpaper just a little, there was a perfect crevice that I could fit the key in. For safekeeping, you know. I think I found the perfect spot.
I suppose so. Cassie, by the way, are you going to be at work tomorrow?
No, I have the day off. Is there something you need from me?
Not really. I was just wondering, that's all. Are you planning on being at home all day then?
During the day, I plan to do some chores around the house, so yes. I've been pretty busy at work lately, so I've been putting a lot of the cleaning off at our place. There's also a lot of bulky garbage that needs to be taken care of.
Well, while you're at it, you should take some time to weed your garden as well. For a while now, I have noticed that there are a ton of weeds growing in it. Having all those weeds start to overgrow in your garden is going to make it look pretty trashy, don't you think?
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't really notice. I'll take care of it tomorrow, and I'll make sure that it looks cleaner from now on.
It's probably best to do it later in the evening when it starts to cool off outside. However, make sure to finish up all of that before my son gets home for dinner.
Got it. Recently, it started to feel like summer with the sunlight being so intense during the day.
Maybe start around 4 p.m. or so. It should still be quite bright outside around that time. And then after that, you should be able to finish preparing dinner by the time my son gets home from work, right?
That's exactly right. Great advice, as usual.
That's because I have obviously been a housewife for much longer time than you have. You have to be thorough and precise with this sort of stuff to keep your husband pleased, you know?
All right. Thank you for letting me know.
Cassie, are you at the house? Please come to the hospital right now.
You're at work though, right? What's going on? Why are you at the hospital? Are you hurt?
My mom had a bad fall and I got a call from the hospital. They're saying it's very serious. I just got here a little while ago. You need to come as well.
What? She fell?
I haven't heard all the details about it, but it looks like she got pretty banged up in the fall. She probably had a stroke or something close to that. She'll probably need to stay hospitalized for a while, so bring some of our things so that we can stay with her.
Oh, I see what happened. I doubt she had a stroke, but I guess she had a pretty bad fall. If she needs to stay at the hospital for a bit, she must have broken some bones, huh?
Broken some bones?
It has been a long time since I've laughed this hard. This is way funnier than I first expected.
What? Why are you laughing at a time like this? There is no reason why any of this should be cause for you to laugh.
There is nothing else to do but laugh at her having to go to the hospital, since she trespassed on our property after all.
She probably got injured trying to run away from the scene of the crime. She had more determination to get out of there than I had first thought.
What the hell are you talking about right now? I have no idea where you're going with this.
I'm saying that your mom snuck into her house to try and steal my mom's ring. Actually, you should have known your mom would do something as crazy as this, right?
When did she sneak into our house? It was your day off from work today, so you should have been at home, right?
Your mom had told me to go weed the garden this evening because it looked so bad. So, in this kind of small town, I should be fine leaving the front door unlocked while I'm out in the garden, right? I guess since she knew I'd be in the garden, she decided it was the perfect time to sneak in. Well, even though I knew it would be easy for someone to get into her house, I just thought I might as well work in the garden with my back turned to the house.
Were you seriously trying to tempt her to break in?
I was near the front door of our house and never saw her, so she must have gone in through the back. But hey, I was monitoring what all was happening from my smartphone.
What do you mean by monitoring? How do you do that?
In this day and age, it's pretty simple actually. I just connected my phone with some cameras I had put in our room, and that way I was able to watch the live feed through my phone.
But what on earth were you setting all of that stuff up for?
Isn't it obvious? I did it to see the exact moment when your mom would be in our room taking my mom's ruby ring. She is way too predictable. I can't believe she came into our house all nonchalantly, not knowing that I had planned on this and set up traps from the beginning.
So are you saying you watched all of this unfold? And you were able to catch my mom in your little trap?
I was able to record everything she had done the moment she broke in. If I had evidence of her breaking into our home, I could use that as leverage to make her stop trying to get the ring, right? I'd even be able to show it to other people, or a judge if I needed to. But I honestly didn't think she would end up going to the hospital after running away. Anyways, she left behind physical proof to help me confirm my suspicions.
Hold on. If you'd seen all of this happen, why didn't you immediately call an ambulance when you saw her get hurt?
Because I didn't see the exact moment when she got injured.
What? How could you miss that?
I was only watching the parts where she was frantically searching through our room for my mom's ring. And then, right as she was taking the ring out of the drawer that I had hid it in, I started speaking to her through the camera's microphone. From there, she must have thought that I was coming back inside the house and panicked and took off.
And then what happened?
All flustered, she sprinted out of our bedroom, of course. Now that I think about it, though, the moment she went out of the view of the camera, I heard some other interesting sounds.
What other sounds did you hear?
It sounded like she ran into something big, but it didn't really sound as though she had tumbled or fallen down the stairs. I still can't believe that even after such a bad fall and breaking some bones, she still managed to run away. I can only imagine the look of your mom bearing that sharp pain as she limps away from our house.
So, in other words, you are the one to blame for my mom's injuries then. Screw you!
No, I wasn't the one who caused this accident. Your mom thought she could just waltz inside our house and steal my mom's ring. Then the moment she knew she was exposed, she freaked out and tried to run away from the scene. And that's when, being her own fault, she fell flat on her face, right? The only thing I did was try talking to her.
Seriously, stop screwing around. My mom had to go to the hospital for all of these serious injuries she sustained from all of your antics.
When a burglar breaks into someone's house and decides to commit a crime, they're bound to get hurt trying to run away from there. No matter how you try to spin it, this is just a burglar paying for their crimes, right? And who do you think is the one who paid for breaking in and stealing that ring?
She is not a burglar, you witch. She is my mom.
To me, she was obviously acting like a thief. I mean, she snuck into our house to steal my ring. How is that not a crime? If she wasn't doing anything wrong in the first place, there wouldn't be a need for freaking out and running away.
My mom is starting to get old is all. What will happen if she ends up with lasting effects from her injuries? If that happens, we're gonna sue you to pay for her medical bills.
Who the heck do you think will be the one having to pay that? If you feel like you want to go ahead and bring the law into this, then I'll go have a chat with my brother about all this. You do know that my brother is a lawyer, don't you?
No matter what you think you can do to avoid paying us, you're the cause of her injuries.
I have had to deal with a constant stream of abuse from you guys. Up to now, all of that verbal abuse has ruined my mental health, and you will be the one having to pay me money for my therapy.
Why would I have to pay you?
Because you have been the one supporting your mom's actions all along. If you plan to all go in on making me look bad, then I won't bother showing any mercy to you or your mom.
You're totally crazy. How can you say that you aren't to blame after all you did to my mom? If you would have just given her that ring, none of this would have ever happened. She would have never had to crawl through our house looking for that stupid thing, and I wouldn't have to sit here and listen to your nonsense.
Hey, now that I think of it, your mom said something pretty interesting. She was talking to herself when she found my mom's ring. She said that the ring was much better than her brother's jewelry was, and so on.
My uncle's jewelry? What was she talking about?
I think I have an idea of what she meant. During New Year's, when our relatives were all together, something unfortunate happened, right?
What happened? Are you talking about when my uncle's jewelry went missing?
Yes, that incident. The jewelry that your uncle had at his house that went missing and caused quite a stir, remember? It was never found, and we just kind of assumed your uncle had misplaced it somewhere.
And what does that have to do with what my mom said? His wife just ended up leaving it someplace and forgetting where that was.
It's about that piece of jewelry. Your mom said that she was the one who stole it. She was muttering that to herself while she was rummaging through our room looking for the ring.
You have to be kidding me, right?
Your mom seemed to think that my mom's ruby ring was a lot more impressive than your uncle's jewelry. She confessed to stealing it, and I got it on camera. Should I contact your uncle and send him this video of her confession? What do you think?
Okay, I get it. Please calm down for just a minute. Don't just jump to doing something so idiotic.
I'll ask him to go look around over at your mom's house for his lost piece of jewelry. I'm sure the stolen goods will come up. Your mom is always leaving the side door to her house unlocked so anyone can enter, right?
Stop saying that crap, please.
Do you have anything else to say to me? Did you know about your mom stealing his jewelry, but decided not to bring it up to any of us? Well, I'm going to become a stranger to you guys anyway, so I have no need to worry about what happens next to you.
Do you think you can just run away from this situation? I am not letting that happen.
But your mom is more important to you than me, right? Please, by all means, go down with your mother.
You're planning on just leaving me and my family and letting us hit rock bottom like this? You're heartless.
My biological parents are my only parents, after all, so I have no interest in joining you or your mom in your family's destruction. I'm wiping my hands clean of you and your toxic family. Enjoy your life with your mom. After having that awful conversation with David, I contacted his uncle about what had really happened to his lost jewelry. I told him I knew exactly who the thief was that took it from him. He ran straight to his sister's house and was able to enter through the side door, which was, of course, unlocked. It seems that he was able to find that long-lost piece of jewelry when he went searching inside the place. My mother-in-law ended up being a compulsive thief and had constantly been stealing things from more people than just David's uncle and I. It turns out she'd even been stealing from her part-time job at times. There was apparently employees at her work who had begun to notice that money would disappear from their wallets and purses. And of course, once everyone there found out what she was doing, she was immediately fired from her part-time job. When the time came for her to pay reparations to the victims of her crimes, it seems like her son, my husband at the time, had to pay it all off. At the end of all this mayhem, my ex and his mom became completely alienated from the rest of their relatives.
Also, Denise's legs were permanently affected by the injury she had sustained from running from my house, and she's always going to have a limp. I guess she won't be running from any crime scenes anymore. And because of her legs being injured, taking care of herself had become far more difficult, and so my ex was stuck taking care of her for the foreseeable future. He once said to me that I should have taken better care of my mom when she was sick at the hospital, but now he can't stand the idea of always having to take care of his mom. Their relationship as mother and son must have always been pretty unbearable when I wasn't around. Oh, I forgot to mention, my mom's ring ended up being found and was safely returned to me by the local police. And on a final note, my brother and his wife allowed me to stay over at their place after I divorced David, rent-free. Well, in any case, I am very lucky to be able to protect this precious family heirloom I received from my mom, and I couldn't be happier about that. Thank you for watching and listening. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.